Solving problems involving fractions, last one of this unit. We're going to add, subtract, multiply, and divide fractions. So today as I can use mathematical expressions to represent and solve word problems that involve fractions. So make sure you have today's date, your I can, and you're ready to move on. All right, let's do a quick warm up with fraction operations. So without calculating, I want you to estimate which of these is going to have the greatest value, which ones would be the least, and put them in order. You got it figured out? I would hope. So the one that should be the least is here, because these are all the same fractions all the way through, right? So we've got 3/4 minus 2/3. That's going to bring down, well, it should be the least. Maybe it's not the least. Let's see, that would be 9/12. 9 minus 8 will give us 1/12. I'm going to say this is the greatest, by the way. And then I think this will be the next greatest. So this is first, least, 4, greatest. This one's going to be second most, and that's going to be third most. So I need to fix that. All right. Let us check and see how well I did. Okay, so again, I'm going to use that 12ths. 9/12 plus 8/12 is going to give us 17/12. So far, so good. This should be smaller. This is going to be 6/12. And here we flip this. This is going to be, what, 9/8. Ho-ho. So far these are correct. It's whether this is the greater one or this is the greater one. Let's see, 1 5/12 compared to 1 1/8. Huh, I was wrong. But it goes to make sense because you think about it. Here we're taking a piece and adding it with a piece. Here we're taking a piece and then we're making groups of 3/2. So even though this division does make something greater than these other two here, it does make sense that just straight adding would give us the most in this situation. So see, I was wrong. This should have been the greatest, and this one should have been the next greatest. It's not too far off, though, when you think about like what I was looking at with the estimation piece there. Anyway, time to move on. All right, so before we solve any of these, need to kind of decide if they're going to be greater than or less than 1 when you solve them. All right, first one here, we're going to use 3/4 and 1/2 in each one in different ways. There was 3/4 liter of water in Andre's water bottle. Andre drank 1/2 of the water. How many liters did he drink? Yeah, this one should be less than 1. Why? Because you're going to take 3/4, and it said 1/2 of, so you need to multiply it. As a division, it's going to be sum total divided by 1/2 will get us to our 3/4 of the bottle filled. Okay. What about this one? Distance from Han's house to his school is 3/4 kilometer. Han walked 1/2 kilometer. What fraction of the distance from his house to the school did Han walk? Fraction of the distance. Well, on this one, you're talking about taking 3/4 times something gives us 1/2. So since we're going from a bigger to a smaller, if we think of it as multiplication, we're going to do 3/4 times something gets us that 1/2 mile. Or we can think of it as 1/2 mile divided by 3/4 of a mile to tell us the fraction that he went. And our answer here should have been 2/3. Because if you think about it, 3/4 and went 1/2, that's the same as 2/4. So 2/4 out of the 3/4, he's gone 2/3 of the distance. Praya's goal was to collect 1/2 kilogram of trash. She collected 3/4 kilogram of trash. Woohoo! Good job. How many times her goal was the amount of trash she collected? Yeah, on this one, the answer is going to be greater than 1, right? Because we're going to take that 1/2 times whatever she got, and that's going to get us 3/4. And to get something greater than that, we have to divide, or we have to multiply by something more than 1. That's why in this situation, we're going to take 3/4 and divide it by 1/2. So either way, you end up with 6/4, which is the same as 1 and 1/2. So 1 and 1/2 times. What about this last one? Mine's class volunteered to clean the park with an area of 1/2 square mile. Before they took a lunch break, the class had cleaned 3/4 of the park. How much had they cleaned? Going to be less than 1, right? So because we're going to take that 1/2 of the park, we're going to multiply it by the 3/4 of the park that we have taken care of so far, and we get some answer. If we take some answer and we divide it by 3/4, we get back around to our 1/2 square mile. So what's our missing number here? Yeah, 3/8 of a mile. Because think about it. If we turn this into eighths, that would be 4/8. We've done 3 out of the 4 groups of 2/8. You're going to have 3/8 of a mile. Square mile, excuse me. Baking cookies. Cookies. Wait, I gotta go to work. Okay, so Kieran, and Claire are baking cookies together. They need 3/4 cup of flour, 1/3 cup of butter to make a batch of cookies. They each brought the ingredients they had at home. So we have bringing 2 cups flour, 1/4 cup butter. Kieran had 1 cup flour, 1/2 cup butter, and Claire had 1 1/4 cups flour, 3/4 cups of butter. How many batches of cookies can they make? Okay, so what you should have done was add all this stuff together. So we had the 2 cups of flour, the 1 cup of flour, and the 1 1/4 cup of flour. gave us a total of 4 1/4 cups flour. And this is for the flour. Okay. For the butter, we have 1/4 cup plus 1/2 cup plus 3/4 cup. Okay. We can think of this 1/2 as, 2/4. So that gives us 3/4. 3/4 and 3/4 is 6/4, which is the same as 1 1/2 because it would be 1 2/4. Now, here's the question. If they have all the other ingredients, how many batches of flour can they make? Well, and it wants to know just whole batches. If we look at just the butter, we have 1 1/2 cups. We need to see how many 1/3 cups we can make out of that. So that'd be same as taking 1/2. 1 1/2 makes 3/2 times, make that 1/3 into 3/1. That gives us 9/2, which is the same as 4 1/2, right? Okay. Now, as long as the flour, we've got enough to make 4 1/2 batches, then we can say, 4 total, right? Because it wants to know whole batches. So what about the other here? We've got 4 1/4. We need to divide it into 3/4 here. Yep. So that would be 16 17/4 times 4/3. The 4's cancel out, so now we have 17/3. 3 will go into 17 5 times, leave us with 5 2/3 batches. So, do we go by the 5 2/3 batches flour or the 4 1/2 batches butter? Got to go by the butter here, right? Because we'll have extra flour, but we don't have enough butter to do more, so our answer is 4 whole batches of cookies. Again, because our limiting factor here is the butter. We only have enough butter to do 4 complete batches. We have enough for 4 1/2, but it said how many whole batches. So in this situation, we had to look and see which of the 2 ingredients we had the least of, and that had to give us what our answer is. Okay. Oh, here we go. So real quick, how do we add or subtract fractions with different denominators? Remember, we got to convert those denominators, and then whatever we use to convert the denominators to make those the same, we have to use that same factor for the numerators. We can't just leave the numerators alone. They've got to get the same factor, and then we can add or subtract, but just the numerators. Multiplying fractions, the easiest. Multiply the numerators by the numerators, denominators by denominators. What about dividing fractions? Well, you could have done several things. You could have done the keep, change, flip. You could have done the multiply by denominator and then divide by the numerator, whatever your dividend is. You could have used some of the tape diagram theories that we did. Going to where we use the functions goes better. How do we know which operation to choose for each situation? And we chose right. Well, if we chose right, then whatever our answer is should be reasonable. So in some cases, you may end up choosing division when you could have done multiplication, or subtraction when you could have done addition. That doesn't matter too much as long as it gets you to the correct answer. In some cases, there's going to be ones where there's only really one way to solve it as far as what operation to do. But in many cases, it's really about what you're the most comfortable with and doing your best with it. All right, that is it for today. Thanks for watching.